Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Installment Scott Selections here for Wednesday, February 9th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We're having a nice winner in the NBA with the Celtics -6 at -110 on Caesars. One of the easiest wins we're going to have all year long. Boston led 28-2 in about the first 6-7 minutes of the game. Boston coasted to a 30-plus point win. Brooklyn had a G League roster on the court, and Boston killed them. So a nice winner for us. Look for another winner here on Wednesday. However, I didn't really like anything on the actual card. The NBA, nothing really jumped out to me or jumped out at me. And same thing with college basketball. There were a couple of plays I was leaning towards, didn't really like any of them enough. So we're going to pivot and talk about an event that we've not talked about on the show, I think, ever. It's going to be the Winter Olympics because, of course, that's underway. And men's hockey officially started this morning as Russia's taking on Switzerland right now. But there's a matchup I like on Thursday morning between Team USA and China, taking place on Thursday morning at around 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And for the play of the day, we're going to take Team USA -2.5 goals at -115 on FanDuel. Time recording of 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like Team USA in this spot. First of all, -115 is a great line. Shopping around DraftKings is -125, and BetMGM has -140. So 115 is the best line you're going to find. I'd recommend grabbing it now. But to go through why the U.S. is such a big favorite in this spot, it's not because Team USA is very good. It's because China might be the worst hockey team in the history of the competition. And to go through how bad this team is, just for reference, this story actually happened. It's going to sound really, really like wild, but it 100% happened, and here we go. China is so bad that the International Ice Hockey Federation initially planned on banning China from competition. They had a backup team in place for the Olympics just in case, but they were almost banned from the Olympics because of how non-competitive they were. That happened. Now, the IIHF did eventually back down, and China was able to compete as the host nation in the Olympics, but the fact that they were on the brink of being banned from competing because of how bad they are tells me all I need to know about what the chances are of this team actually looking even mediocre in this competition. Now, to go through how China's been preparing for the Olympics, of course, China does not exactly have a rich hockey background. So in order to get proper practice time, they had to create a team for the China Olympic roster to actually compete on a day in, day out basis. So there was a team created in the KHL, which is the Russian Hockey League, which consisted mostly of the Olympic roster for this China men's hockey team. So that team is known as the HC Kunlun Red Star. And to go through their record in about 6 years with the KHL, they are 115, 188, and 45. So they are ridiculously terrible. And to go through the actual roster breakdown, of course, since it is in the KHL or the Russian Hockey League, you need a minimum of X amount of Russian players to participate. So, of course, those Russian players will not be playing for China in this Olympic tournament. But the point is that this team that went 115, 188, and 45 should be even worse because they got rid of their Russian players for this contest, which definitely does not exactly bode well for their hopes in this tournament. But to go through the actual betting odds for these teams, Team USA is middle of the pack. They are about 16-1 to win the gold medal, which is the sixth lowest odds in the entire tournament. Meanwhile, you have China. And for comparison, I think you'd agree most long shots, if I asked you to name the price of an average long shot, you'd probably say 100-1. You know, fair number, a team that doesn't really have much of a shot to win, but maybe can catch fire and do something. China's odds to win the gold medal, 700-1. That's how bad this team is. So I think they're going to get buried. I think they might lose every game by 4 or 5 goals. And to look at Team USA, they did not send any NHL players this time around, but they did send a bunch of their best amateur players and some from college who are really good. So Team USA kind of is going for the Miracle on Ice type of squad where you're relying a bunch of amateurs to carry you to the promised land. I'm not sure they're going to go that far, but they're definitely good enough to beat up on easily the worst team in the competition, arguably the worst team of all time. Team USA should be pretty excited to be there because this is going to be the first Olympics for a lot of the roster because of the amount of amateurs they have. But this game should get ugly, and it should get ugly quickly. Team USA could potentially score 6-7 goals in this game. It might look like the Team USA women's hockey team that just beats every team not named Canada by about 6 goals every time. That might be Team USA in this spot, and I think that eventually China will lose this game by 5 goals, maybe more, but this could get ugly. And if I have a chance to fade one of the worst teams in the history of competition, I'm going to do it. So I'm excited for this matchup. We'll see what happens, and I really want to see if China's as bad as advertised. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Team USA, -2.5 is the play of the day at -115 on FanDuel. Bye, everyone.